I'm Jennifer Page, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
When I did the vocals for the chorus of the Phantom of the Opera.
Hello!
Hi, Chloe. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing really good.
Someone was just leaving the bar with a beer, and then there was this opening, and I just found myself climbing onto the bar.
It feels kind of like we were laughing about it last night, a family band in a way, because, you know, and that's really exciting as well because, you know, it feels a little bit more like home when you're on tour. And
I wanted to look exactly like they looked on the cover with their big perm hair and their chokers and their, like they just looked, they were so badass and so cool.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Brought his camera and he just was asking me about things, and I was just, you know, I'm one of the realest people you ever meet. I do my best to just portray just realness. What you see here is what you're gonna get, you know what I mean? So there was something that he saw, and I actually was in training when he came up to Rhode Island, and I'm like, dude, look, I got in like an hour, then I gotta go to the gym, but you're more than welcome to come with me. So he came with me, came to my dirty, dingy, yet grimy, full of champion gym, Big Six Boxing Academy, my family. And he, as a filmmaker, just saw me getting there. I was sparring a bunch of guys, you know, just doing me. And I really didn't see what he saw until we really sat down and we started dissecting it. Well, I just landed the one of the leads on this HBO anthology series, True Detective, alongside of Jodie Foster for the season 4. And that is huge.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're kind of telling me pre-show that it still hasn't sunk in yet.
No, I mean, I'm still processing the fact that you just even held up a Blu-ray DVD with my face on it with a movie that I just, you know, did. And yeah, it's so crazy. And even the fact that I can pick up my, you know, Fire Stick remote and say, catch the fair one, it's right there. You know, I'm still letting all that stuff sink in from last year. And then I get this big opportunity. So I've been like, kind of like, Jesus, take the wheel. He done took the wheel. She done took the wheel. I'm like, all right, I'm just along for the ride.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Friday, the 22nd of March, 2024. So happy Friday to everybody out there. If this happens to be your Friday for your work week. Quickly, I'd like to thank Patrick Myers from Killer Queen, who I just talked to about 2 hours ago for my first live stream today. They are one of the first Queen tribute bands ever. They started in 1993, and they're currently in the U.S., working their way up from California, and they'll be up here in my neck of the woods about a week from now. So it was great talking to Patrick, and they're also based from the U.K., and he actually attended London University where Queen went. It just, all these parallels were just amazing. So I'm looking forward to hopefully catching the show in a week. And coming up, the next confirmed live stream that I have is on Monday, April 1st. And if there's something happens in between now and then, who knows? But if you'd like to know who that guest is and anything else that I have coming up, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. And if this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you've been here before and just kind of forgot to do it, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. If you like the video, if you put a comment, any kind of interaction helps the algorithm kind of know that, hey, there's something going on over here with this channel, and then that helps me out. So I appreciate that. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's always appreciated too. All right. Well, I am super stoked for this interview. It's been pending since maybe about the end of December, I want to say. It was when the first kind of inklings were going on. And so let's get to it, not wasting any more time. My guest today first joined me in 2021 to discuss her film, Catch the Fair One. She joined me again in 2022 to announce she had been cast in HBO's acclaimed anthology series, True Detective Season 4. In 2024, she brought the character of Evangeline Navarro to life in True Detective Night Country, starring opposite of Academy Award winner Jodie Foster. The series went on to become the highest rated True Detective season and ranked #1 on HBO Max during its entire run. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome back to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss KALI REIS.
Hello.
Hello, KO. How are you?
I'm very, very well. This was funny to watch those flashbacks, man. Feels like ages ago. How are you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. I so appreciate you taking the time this afternoon.
Of course, man. Anything for the good ones.
I'm glad I'm on that list because
Yeah,
if I wasn't, I know your professional background as a boxer, that I wouldn't want to be on the.
You don't want to be on KO shit list.
But yeah, those clips were a trip for even for me to kind of go through those interviews and kind of find something to pull out. I'm like, gosh, it feels like it was longer ago than it was.
Yeah.
In many cases. And I still remember when we did the second one, like I showed in the clip, that you had just announced like a week prior on your social media that you just landed this part in True Detective. And full transparency for everybody, I knew about the show, but I had not watched the previous seasons. So I did that leading up to your season. So I started kind of, it may have been like around November or so. I started watching 1, 2, and 3 so that I could be ready in January for season 4 in Night Country. So there's a lot to unpack. For people out there that are watching this, if you have a quick comment or a question, please get into the chat and I'll try to incorporate those into the conversation. But so let's just kind of, congratulations on the success of the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been quite the wild ride, so I really appreciate it. And even, like you said, being a True Detective fan, I'm really proud that they even got this amazing 4th season. So happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clearly it was resonating with viewers because it kept going up and up in the ratings. And again, over all 4 amazing seasons, it's the highest ranked one for viewership. And it's like, and they announced season 5 is going to be coming, down the pike. Just kind of now that you're kind of on, all the episodes are obviously have aired. They're still there on HBO Max. You've been doing a whirlwind of press, which we'll talk about in a second. How are you feeling about everything now? It's kind of all out there for everyone to take in, and you're kind of at the other end of this, roller coaster.
It was such a pleasure to do the project, and the story was such a special story, and we had such a unique, at least, I hope all my experiences are like this. I've been blessed thus far with all the projects, especially this one, to have such an amazing time shooting it. Apparently I do darkness and death really well, so I don't tell happy stories yet. But the fact that we had such an amazing time shooting it and then to get it put out into the world, you kind of forget while you're doing it that people are actually going to see it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the same experience I had with Catch the Fair one. Like, we just had the intention to tell the story the best way we could. Same thing with True Detective Night Country. You kind of, throw it to when we had so much fun, but to see the reaction to now that it's in the world and people really loving it or hating it, people are talking about it. It's building that much of it. It's such a talking piece. But the one thing that really touches my heart personally is the fact that people from the actual place, from Alaska, the Inupiaq people, the Inuit people, are like so proud to see themselves, their home on TV, and just the response from True Detective fans, just people who've never even heard of True Detective, people who are not horror fans but love this type of genre. It's the response, and to see week after week how people are responding to it, talking about it, the viewership in just 6 episodes. It was really, I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the response. And people are just, when you hear, are you guys going to do the 5th season? Or is it going to be something else or something? People just want more. And it's like, it feels really good because I fell in love with the story. So I'm just happy that it's out there. I was terrified at first, like, oh my God. But once it's out, it's out. You know what I mean? So I'm really proud of it.
Well, you absolutely should be proud of it. And I think probably one of the highest compliments I could pay you is that I had a friend who was saying, I'm going to watch all of her films after this, plural. And I'm kind of like, films? Are you going to jump into like the DeLorean and go into the future and find out some of the films that Kali has done? And he thought for sure that you must have like a catalog of films behind you that got you this role. And so I was kind of going through the background that I knew, and he was like, that's unreal that she was so good in this show that she has done one film and comes from the boxing world. So you completely fooled him.
Well, it's a fun thing to hear that, you know what I mean? Because I work so hard, but it's really nice to hear that. I've come to so many like aha moments and clarity to kind of, people ask me a lot of different questions, which I'm sure you'll ask me, but it's nice to hear that I fool a lot of people into thinking that I've been doing this my entire life. And I'm like, nope, Not yet. For the rest of her life, hopefully, but not for the entire life.
Yeah, no, it's I think for some people, including myself, that when I was watching the show, and obviously for most people knowing the body of work that Jodie Foster has done, you have to step up your game or you're gonna get left in the dust basically as an actor. And the fact that you were holding your own with her says a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, it was such an amazing opportunity to learn or even be a part of any kind of project with that type of legend and person and just human in the game. And just, I guess I approached it like, I guess with any fight, it's like, okay, yeah, they might be a undisputed champ, but like I have tools and I'm going to sharpen them the best of my ability. And I just, I don't get scared. Anything that like gets me nervous or terrified is like gets me excited. That means I love being in a room where I have to step my game up, where I am the worst fighter in the gym when I first step in there, or I don't know what's going on in a room and I'm not the dumbest person, but I may be the most uneducated as far as whatever the room is. So I have a chance to learn, and just it gives me an excited time to learn. So yeah, that's a huge compliment because I'm a huge fan of hers. I didn't even realize how many movies of hers that I would like on my list of like favorite movies. Like, so it was that's a definite the compliment, and I'm really proud of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see Taylor. Hi, Taylor. Thanks for joining us. Just saying that season 4 was the best season of True Detective. This is actually a good question because she asked, did they film in Alaska? And I know you did not. So if you'd like to answer that.
Hey, Taylor, how are you? And no, we did not film in Alaska. Unfortunately, where we would need to go to get the type of fictional city and town that we were trying to build, or that are already there, actual cities and towns, remote, very remote. There's no roads. There's only ways to get there by either plane or anything. It's so thick and rich of just very, very much Mother Earth. And the temperatures get down to, negative 60, 70. So we actually shot in Iceland. We shot in Iceland, and it was amazing to be able to, the whole crew created this town based off of a lot of different towns and cities that they went to and visited and spent a lot of time in Alaska for quite some time to build what we could in Iceland, and also brought a lot of indigenous and Alaskan people to Iceland and from Greenland to create this whole fictional city in it. But we shot in beautiful Iceland.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think one of the most important characters of True Detective Night Country was the character of Iceland. It permeates everything that happens in that show. And if you take that out and try to do it on a sound stage or try to do it somewhere else, it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, that's one thing that's great about the True Detective as a whole, that, the atmosphere and the location is a character within itself. I mean, you have the first season being in hot, sweaty, bright Louisiana, like hot. The whole place was a character. The second season was in LA. LA is a whole character in itself. The third season in the Ozarks. So every season has that thing where the atmosphere, the area, the location is a whole character in itself. Then you have something like the Arctic is just like it swallows you whole. You know what I mean? It was such a great opportunity to be able to shoot in the elements. Also for character, like I didn't have to imagine what it would be like to be in negative 20 degrees at 2 in the morning, or what is pitch black most of the time. It did the same thing minus the very harsh conditions in Alaska that we would have in Alaska. And I gotta say, the Alaskan people, Inuit and Yup'ik people, Arctic natives, they are built different. To have centuries and centuries of people that have survived and are so resilient and have used that type of atmosphere, that type of terrain, and learn it and live and survive and thrive in it, they are superheroes, man. I'll tell you, because I was like, oh my God, it's negative 20. They're like, yeah, it gets like negative 70. I'm like, what? Y'all are crazy.
Oh man, that sounds brutal.
Yeah, it's tough to breathe, especially like all the Greenlandic natives that came down. It gets ridiculous, like inhumanely cold there. Unless it's like 0 degrees, -5, and they're walking around in t-shirts. I'm like, this is y'all are built different, man. It's a special way of life, I gotta say, but it's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Wow, that's like you said, they're built different. I mean, I can't even fathom in my head trying to survive, like you said, for centuries. People for centuries that this is what they're used to at this point.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be used to that.
No, it's a beautiful place. I actually, you learn to love the cold. Iceland it's funny because of course they had the coldest winter they've had in like 100 years, of course, we were there. And like it was really, really cold. But I grew up in New England, so I'm used to having really harsh winters. But nobody can prepare you for the wind in Iceland. Like the wind does something to the cold where it like cuts through your bones, man. It's a different kind of cold. So, and it's dark. But I learned a lot about layers. I learned how to layer the right material. I learned about heated socks. I learned about heated vest, heated everything.
Oh wow! As we're kind of talking about the show, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I read something where when Issa had written the character of Evangeline Navarro, she had pictured like a Latina that was ex-military and that type of thing. And so when you read for this part, was that what they had in mind, or did they, once they cast you, did she kind of change the story? Because sorry if people, the spoilers out there if you haven't seen this, because the finale of the show, I'm like, when that happened, I'm like, this is so you. I mean, it's almost like they wrote it for you. That's why I couldn't understand like how she was trying to, on one hand, look at this initially and then turned into this, if it was already sitting there like that as the finale, and thinking that they're going to have a Latina with this, military background. I'm like, that doesn't quite fit as well as obviously having you there.
Yeah, it's interesting because Issa she's I absolutely love that woman. She's very close to these characters and the stories that she tells. So she originally had the character as Navarro as this badass, very ex-militant, hot-headed Latina woman. And when they decided to, after she went to Alaska, spent time, ate the foods, went hunting, went on frozen ocean, spent a lot of time there, she realized and made the conscious decision that, we need to make Navarro part of the community. Like, so she needs to be native. She needs to be at least half native or be part of the community. So she made that decision before she cast me. Hence why they even started looking for an indigenous actor that could fill Navarro's shoes. And so when her casting director, Francine Meisler, she saw Catch the Fair One, loved it, loved me. So when she got the win that she was gonna make her an indigenous, she was like, well, what indigenous actor can we find? And she just showed her a picture of me. And then she said, well, watch the Catch the Fair One. And she was like, who is this woman? And she wanted to just talk to me, get to know me, just pretty much just like Joe. So that was when she told me about her, I'm like, okay, I can see this. And Navarro, even being half Inupiaq, half Dominican, the way we started off was she was a lot more rigid. She was a lot more hard ass, not as vulnerable in her like emotional, wearing a heart on her sleeve. How she ended up wasn't even how she started with me and Issa. Navarro found us. I had to find Navarro in working with the script, working with Issa and Jody, and what Jody brought to the table, because both of those characters were different. Even Danvers was a lot younger, and she was just like freshly broken, like she just broken from everything, trying to get her life together. And Navarro was this hard ass, you know what I mean? And it would have worked, but how Jody basically she wanted to age up her character. I mean, she looks great for her age, but she's 61 years old. So she wanted to age her up. And she also wanted to make her more rigid, more hard, more cold, more closed off, and make her a lot more racist, a lot more like so unaware of her surrounding, what's going on, especially being based around a lot of indigenous. After Issa went up to Alaska, she also realized that 70-80% of the population in Alaska is indigenous native people. They live in villages, they have hunting camps, but the population, even in the regular cities, are 70-80% native. So it was just evident that this had to be to kind of balance, and Jody worked her character to kind of balance what Navarro would be. And when she brought her to the table, it really had us, we really just worked, and we found these characters, but they started off a little different.
Well, thank you for that background, because when I was preparing for this interview, I'm like, well, based on what I know about you and your background, and you're very much an activist as well for indigenous people, and you've been very vocal about it. And when I was watching the show, I'm kind of like, this is this is too uncanny. I mean, it's just too uncanny. And in some ways, I mean, maybe Issa was even thinking that when she decided to change what Navarro was going to be, when she met you, it was going to be like, how did I get so lucky finding somebody?
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I'm learning, especially being a new actor, that the joy of being an actor or art is you do put part of yourself, or you do find similarities with these characters, and it has to speak to some part of you, at least for me, to get excited about playing with this character or meeting this character or creating this character's backstory. There's things that, that are similar, that are just like me, and then there's so many things that aren't, you know what I mean? But I think you have to bring a part of you into the character, in some little ways or not, but it speaks to you, and then you can completely cut yourself off from that character, knowing that, at the end of the day, the character is Navarro, but it looks like Kaylee, you know what I mean? So I've been blessed with these parts where I get to have fun and create things and bring things that resonate. And they are like, it is too uncanny. I mean, she's a Nupiaq and Dominican. I'm Wampanoag and Cape Verdean. She has an ex-military military background. I do not. She still has she's an ex-Marine, did a lot of tours, but I haven't, I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter in and out of the ring. So there was a lot of similarities that I could relate to. And I think maybe after meeting me, after speaking with me, especially with Issa's background or her own type of activism, bringing a lot of murdered Mexican women into her films. So we just kind of vibed out on that before we even, when she just wanted to talk to me. So I guess when the stars align, they align. And I've been really blessed to have these characters to work with that really do well for me in my acting.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think it's something that I would think kind of helps lend itself, like you're saying, to become that character. There's some pieces that are already there. So it's like, well, that's part of me anyway. And then as you go along in your career, it's going to be like, you're going to have roles, obviously, where like this character, there's nothing here that is me, but I'm going to find something. And that's what I'm going to kind of hang my hat on to develop the character. So it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. It's became fun. And I mean, even that I've learned through life and through especially athletics, being an athlete and being a fighter, like that actually helped me, because I'm able to find some things that are similar, but I'm also able to completely detach from the character, because just like boxing, the bell rings, I'm KO, I'm in there, I'm fighting, bell rings, I'm out the ring, and it's like I'm chill, peace, like I don't want, like, let's everybody just chill. Whereas I was able to apply that with acting too, where it's like action, I'm able to dive completely in, however deep, dark, dirty, disturbing, or happy, or whatever that is the character, I allow myself to completely just let myself go into that, because it's okay. Because when that camera's off, I'm able to go back and be Kaylee, no matter how similar or how dissimilar myself and my character are.
Well, you know what? I think there's a lot of actors I wish they could do what you can already do.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how some actors or artists can get, because it gets, don't get me wrong, I was doing this for 7 months. Sometimes it gets a little crosshaired. Sometimes it's, you're so far into it's hard, or you might have like some kind of love affair of being this character. I can see how that must be surreal when you're really inside a brain and you really like a character. I can see how people can get attached. I definitely can, but I guess this is nothing nobody taught me. I've noticed things that way, and I'll always remind myself to stay grounded in myself. No matter what I do, that's a goal I have of mine. May not happen all the time, but that's the goal.
Well, and I think you touched on something really important too, is that with your professional background as a boxer, as a fighter, that you've already been doing it, that you have to find a way to disassociate from, I'm not in the ring now, I'm Kaylee again, and I don't want to take that, especially if you're pissed off about something that happened in a fight, and then taking that to your home or to your relationships or anything like that, which is not healthy. So you already had that skill set going for you, so it's going right into acting now, where you can kind of do the same thing. It's just going to serve you so well.
Yeah, it's interesting, because like I said, people are so, I guess, I'm highly impressed. I don't think anybody thought I was stupid or I wasn't smart or I wasn't talented. I think they're just really impressed as I had this as my technical third job, but really like second big job or first TV major role, that I was able to make the adjustment so smoothly. It may not be the way somebody else would play this character. It may not be the typical like classic way, but it's the way I understand things. And it's because I've had such a long time and long career in boxing, where it doesn't feel unfamiliar to me, even though it's completely different. I feel like I've been training for doing this my entire boxing career because I find so many different parallels to it. So I guess everybody's just pleasantly surprised that I've kind of adjusted in my own way along with other artist types of mentalities that I have, which is a compliment to me. But it just also means if this is where I'm starting, I can't wait to see where I can get to. You know what I mean? Like this is just I can't wait to see what I can do, not what I can do compared to X, Y, and Z, or this person, that actor, that artist, what I can do. Just like in boxing, I set goals. I want to see how good I can get. It may be a world title or not, or maybe 6. I got 6 in 2 different weight classes. I just want to see how much I can do, how much better I can do. And I think taking that, never having a ceiling, always wanting to learn, always wanted to be my own competition for me, not to compare, not to worry about what everybody else thinks. And, oh, she should have did this or she should have did that. If I'm okay with it and I can do the best I can, like we say in boxing, leave it all in the ring. Like I don't want to save it. I want to be all out. I want to see how good I can get. So I feel like my athletic background and life has definitely trained me to be able to make such a smooth transition, because there's a lot of ways I understand the world and how things work that I've learned from boxing that now I can apply to this job. And it's nice to not have to get hit in the face as well.
Yeah, I can only imagine this. It's like, doing, this is kind of a good segue that how boxing has prepared you. Like you said, that you are challenging yourself. Like, how far can I go? How far can I take this? Same thing with your acting career. There must have been quite, not culture shock, but just quite a difference when you had to start doing press for this show, because just the magnitude of it, it's already got a built-in audience. You're, literally all over America, South America, Europe, promoting it. Have you ever done that much press for anything in your past?
No, never. So much as far as like a fight week, you travel to a different country, you have like 1 or 2 press conferences, maybe like an open workout, but that's all in the matter of a few days, and it's not much. I've done a few interviews here and there, but nothing to that caliber. And to start in Brazil at the biggest Comic-Con in the world, I was like, I've never even been to a Comic-Con yet. And I was like, holy crap, wow, this is amazing. But I was excited for it, but I've never done anything like that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, because I was watching some of the interviews. The list is endless, from CNN, MSNBC, Kelly Clarkson, The View. It just went, Harper's Bazaar. It went on and on and on. And sometimes it's yourself, sometimes it's you with Jody, sometimes it's you and Jody and Issa. It was just like, holy crap. That's just got to be just its own entity in itself, just trying to promote this, thing that we did.
Yeah, it's a whole nother skill. Like it's endurance. It's just learning, and it helps that me, Issa, and Jody are like 3 best friends that anybody can have. So I had it was really, really cool that we all enjoyed it, because of course you hear the horror stories, like these actors hate each other, but they have to promote this thing. But it's a whole skill within itself. And I was just, I would send my husband my schedule for the day, and he would it'd be like 12 or 13 pages for a day, and he'd be like, or for like maybe 2 days, this is like the week, what it's going to look like, and my schedule for the day might be like 2 or 3 pages. And he's like, this is for one day. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo. So I'm like, I have no time. Like I literally start getting ready at 7 in the morning. I may or may not talk to you at lunch, and I may be done by 5. You know what I mean? But it's back to back to back to back. So I was just like, F it, dude, we here now. Like, let's do this. And it's to the point where like, I don't want nobody asking me even what time it is today. Let's everybody be quiet. I don't want to talk today. So again, I was able to like, all right, we're here, we're work, because I love to work. I love to work, whatever we got to do. But when I need a break, I need a break. So I just made sure I took my breaks and worked out and kept on going, man.
Well, you work hard and you break hard. Just like recovery for an athlete, you wouldn't know that. So you have to take time to recover. You can't just be training, and don't do any kind of recoveries. That you're not gonna last.
No, you can't run on red all the time. You got to take your time to relax. So that's what allows me to go all in. Is like when I break, I break. Like you won't even catch me walking fast in the house to the bathroom. I'm taking a break. You know what I mean? So, but it's important. So you'll be rejuvenated to do whatever you have to do next.
Yeah, and just out of sheer curiosity, as you're doing all this press for True Detective, did they have to go through any kind of like coaching stuff, or say, hey, we noticed you say this all the time. Can you say this? Or they just kind of let you go and just say whatever you want to say?
Well, the first event, I've never done anything like this. This is my third acting job. Nobody has really seen me do interviews or anything before. So, and it's like live, and it's a different type of setup. So nobody had like doubts, but everybody was nervous because I've never done this. But I was like, any kind of media training that you guys would like to give me, I want to learn. I'm new here. I want to learn everything. Any tips, any advice, I please let me know. But I did the first kind of rounds, and they were like, you don't need, you can, like, you're good. And I'm like, I knew I was going to be fine because I've done interviews, I've done talks and everything for the last, in boxing, but then the last 7 or 8 years, just going to different communities and then starting to learn and talk in front of people. And like, this is what I've been doing. And I knew I was good, but they were like, oh, you're good. And I also was able to watch and feed off of Issa and Jody. I was able to be with them and kind of peep them just like I did on set, see how Jody's answering questions, see what's going on, kind of stay away from this and that, and just really learn on the fly. And I've been blessed to be surrounded around examples of kind of how to do things, or the way people do things that resonates with how I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I understand this. I speak this language. So it was a hustle, but they kind of just let me rip. But they always have to tell you like no spoilers, or like I'm always conscious, especially now being such a public figure, people are always looking for clickbait. Somebody's looking for something to misconstrue something. And I just know that about human beings in general. So it's just kind of applying the same thing. But one thing that they weren't ready for or aren't used to is that I come from the brutal world of boxing. Let me tell you, everybody got an opinion. Nobody cares about anybody else as far as like smack talk, and about how I have a backbone and I don't take no crap from anybody. And I will speak my mind respectfully, but I will say exactly what I mean and mean what I say. Whereas I'm sure there's so much more caution you have to have in something like entertainment and business, and I understand that. But if I have a problem, or if I have an opinion, and we can get into that later with like, the original showrunner of True Detective, I'm going to say what I need to say. And I know, and I'm like, you guys, and also too, like the critics or people who don't, I'm like, it's not going to bother me, and I have a lot more tough skin, I guess, than the average person in entertainment. Like, I don't really care what anybody says, and I'm also going to be very opinionated. So they were like, oh, wow. Okay. Yep. I'm like, yes, I will say exactly what I need to say respectfully. And then I don't want no beef. I don't need to get nobody in the ring. I just gotta say what I mean.
No, I mean, clearly from doing 2 interviews with you, I knew that how you were going to be able to completely just handle yourself in interviews and things of that nature. And you already have a presence that you come across the screen. For people that are watching this right now, they're probably feeling the exact same thing, that just as a person you do. So that, and you definitely you're well-spoken, you're educated. You don't take crap off of anybody, but you're gonna do it in a respectful way. But if someone poses a question that you don't agree with, or you have they want to get your take on something, you're not going to go around the corner about anything. It's like, no, this is what I feel. 100. That's it. So
that's it. And if I don't want to answer it, I have no problem saying, I don't feel comfortable with that. I'm good. And I just, you don't have to, just because you have confrontation or you don't agree, doesn't mean that you have beef with anybody. It's just like, I think we as humans try to put too much fluff because we think, we don't want to offend, or we do want to offend, or we want to avoid confrontation. So we just do fluff. I'm a very direct person. I'd rather hear truly what somebody feels about something. You don't have to disrespect me with it, but truly, so I can I always like to understand where somebody's coming from or somebody's perspective. Doesn't mean I want to understand it so you can convince me to think like you think. I just have a better understanding of how you got to your conclusion. I can say, okay, I see that. That's still stupid to me, but okay. Or that's still respectfully, that I still don't agree, but I understand. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I go about, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm right there, because when I started doing these live streams in 2020, I definitely had some guests that were coming on pre-show where, especially politically, we were on opposite ends of the spectrum, and I didn't know it until I was talking to them. And so it's like, I let them say their piece, and as long as we could be respectful to each other, that was okay. We can kind of figure out, is there a middle ground? Maybe there isn't, but at least we can respect each other. Mm-hmm. If you start like picking at me or start taking like personal shots at me about my viewpoint, yeah, that's not going to fly at all. And I have no problem with my backbone just starting getting rigid real quick on people.
Oh yeah. Yep. Good.
So I've totally been there. And when you were talking earlier about some media are looking for clickbait things on the music side, that when I do interviews in person, especially like on tour buses and that kind of thing, I distinctly remember one band who I won't name, but rightfully so. They had an interviewer before me that got kicked off the tour bus. He just kind of like, they didn't literally kick him off, but you could hear them yelling at him to get the fuck off the bus. And I'm like, great, now I'm next to go on.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I said, "Is everything all right? I mean, you still want to do the interview?" Oh yeah. No, we're gonna do the interview, but that guy was an a-hole, and he was basically trying to goad them to get something to put into his social media that would be some clickbait headline. They'll get a bunch of clicks and likes and all that kind of crap. That's all. You don't have to worry about that with me. That's the last thing I want to ever do. So
it's interesting. People are just looking for the next somebody to cancel or somebody to have everybody's so mean and so offended at the same time now. So it's just insanity. The thing is too, when I do say something, again, if you're like, well, you said, I'm like, yes, I said what I said and I meant what I said. I'm human. I'll probably just maybe, I don't know, talk some shit or maybe be mad about, I'll be reactive in a moment. But like people try to like, well, you said this in the Twitter. Yes, I did say that in the Twitter. Is there a problem? Like on Twitter, like I told you in the first interview, I am a loose cannon or X. I am a loose cannon on that thing. Don't come for me because I clap right back, and you're not gonna like what I have to say. So it's just real interesting to see how people try to poke. They try to poke, and I'm like, you can poke the bear, but the bear got teeth. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's. Well, and I think we talked about that. Maybe it was during the first interview too about with social media, how people, they just think that they're bigger than they are because they're not there in front of you. Yes, it's like, I know 90% of the shit that you say to me, you would not say that if you were standing right here next to me. You're saying it because you're behind the screen and you figure I can't somehow get to you or something like that. It's like, what? And even for me on my side, I just had some people put some comments on one of my videos from the other day. And I'm like, why did you even take the time to put this? It's so negative.
No, people have too much time in their day, or they're like, people just want to be mean or feel important or feel, which is one of the first human basic needs, to feel important, feel as unique, significant. I just don't understand why people have to go out of their way. Like, I'm like, you guys do know this in this imaginary world. Like, this is not the real world. And it's just, it's a disease. I mean, hopefully they make a vaccine for bitch assness and also keyboard thugging. I think these are two very highly contagious and it's running wild, man. It's a damn epidemic of bitch assness and keyboard thugging. So hopefully there will be a cure. The CDC needs to come up with a vaccine soon. But that's what it is, man. And then that's why I don't really, like, I'll have fun and, go back and forth, whatever. But I'm like, I'm the in-person type of person. It doesn't mean I want to put my hands and feet on you. It just means I'm a very energetic. Like, I want to feel your energy. Like, I want to feel that this is just bullshit and you're fearful and you're just talking. Oh, this is how you really feel. So I don't like doing the things over the internet or the keyboard or whatever. Again, I'll have fun if I'm wasting some time on the toilet or something, but I'm not going to go out of my day and waste hours of talking in this imaginary world.
I'm right there with you. If I can actually interview everybody in person, absolutely I would do that. Clearly, that's not going to always be the case, but I just interviewed somebody a week ago, and that energy exchange is so different when you're there. And they can also pick up on, are you genuine? Are you respectful? Are you prepared? In my case, do I know what the hell I'm talking about? And behind this kind of thing, well, maybe I suck, but then they kind of dismiss it because it's like not as real as it is. You're 5 feet away from me, and what? I can tell you didn't do your homework, Mark, or whatever.
Yeah, I can't even tell if you got pants on right now, bro. These interviews are crazy.
Exactly. I have to smell good when I'm in person. I gotta
man, you gotta shower. I can't have my shoes off. My dog can't be with me. This is not cool.
Yeah. Anybody, as we're getting close to winding this down, if you have a question for Kaylee, please put it into the chat and I'll make sure that we ask her. I'm just thinking about with True Detective and also Catch the Fair one is that both shows in terms of how you worked on both of these, they're both cold. Can we get you something like moderately temperature wise on the next project or something?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Even the one it's coming out next Friday, Asphalt City, that I shot before True Detective. It was called Black Flies, but it's called Asphalt City now, with Ty Sheridan and Sean Penn. It was like in New York, and it was fairly cool, but of course it was like one of those days where it was kind of spring, kind of what it's doing now over here. Like it's spring, but then the temperatures dropped and it was freezing. And of course I play a dark character and I have like blood everywhere and all this other stuff. So it was cold in there too. I'm like, guys, listen, the next project, can nobody die? And can we do, I don't know, some sunshine or Hawaii or something? I don't know, something. And then I also did, after the True Detective, I did Wind River 2. That was in Calgary. It was freezing and it would snow. It was beautiful. But I did do another movie last year. It's an independent film called right now, The Rebuilding Project. And we shot in Colorado in the middle of August, July, August. So I had the total opposite in the summertime. I was in the desert at like 110 degrees. So I would like something in the middle this time, please.
So TV and movie people out there, can you please find locations that have like moderate climates, maybe like 70 degrees or something and some sun? Or
yeah, that'd be great. I did actually just land another project, which I'm so excited to do. That it's not bad. It's actually it's everybody's wish as far as temperature and weather is concerned.
Okay, and that's something you have to keep under wraps, I assume, for right now.
Well, we made it. It's official and it's all deal is sealed. But I'm kind of waiting for the official press release to come out so I can kind of surprise everybody for what it is. But I did get another role and I'm very excited about it. So
awesome! Well, I can't wait to see that. When the press release comes out and see what you're up to. And you just mentioned some of the other films that you already have in the can that are going to be coming out as well. So you've been very busy. And I see that Taylor's asking, what kind of dog do you have?
Oh, I have a Frenchie. His name is Quincy Bones. Would you like? He's probably outside the door. I think he might be downstairs, but he's very cute. He's my little. I feel like he's my 2-year-old, my furry 2-year-old that I can leave at home for a few hours at a time. He's just like a child.
Quincy Bones.
Actually, we got him when I was still in Iceland. We had planned on getting a dog when I got back. But I didn't want, because especially with puppies, like I like to be there. I have my own thing with dogs. I love dogs. I've had dogs all my life. But my friend who breeds Frenchies, she's in Rhode Island, and she always puts up she always has litters. But she put up this one picture. You guys know what I'm talking about. Dog people. I saw this picture, and I was like, oh wow. We were looking for a Merrill, and I was like, oh wow, he's really cute. And he's a lilac, a really light gray. And I'm like, hey babe, I know we're waiting till I get home and we want a Merrill, but he's cute. And he was like, oh man, he's cute. And then without saying anything to my friend, she sent me a picture. She said, hey, I know you guys are looking for a Merrill, but like he's probably one of the best ones I produced. I was like, I was looking at the same one. It's a sign. Babe, go get the dog. So he got the dog and I got to meet him when I got back home. It was really nice. He was already like 4 months, but that's my little fur baby.
That's awesome. Sometimes I've had dogs come into camera. Definitely kids have come into camera during interviews. Mm-hmm. When Mo Brings Plenty from Yellowstone was doing he was literally in his barn. That's where his office is.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, and what's funny is that it's on my YouTube channel. People can watch it later. I was talking with Mo, and then all of a sudden you hear this donkey sound, and I'm like, where is that coming from? Because you couldn't see anything. And Mo started laughing. He's like, I'm sorry, Mark, that's my donkey Cash. It's over here making a bunch of stuff.
That's so cute. They're very cute. Yeah, no, I'm surprised. I think it's because my husband's home doing his own interview stuff. But usually he gives me 20 minutes and then he's in here on my lap, like, what's going on? And he just wants to be up under me. So he's usually in most of my interviews.
Well, again, I think it's been very, very common to have fur babies.
That's all right. Yep.
And as we get close to wrapping this up, one thing that I saw that's going to be happening, and I want to say this is on the 28th so that's next week, is that you're getting a Community Hero Recipient Award. So, well, one, congratulations. But tell me more about this.
Yeah, man, I got the chief of my tribe. I'm from the Seekonk Wampanoag tribe, Seekonk Max, or Seekonke Wampanoag, and he asked one of my elders that was working with me on some other things if he could put my name in for the Community Hero Award at the State House. I was like, yeah, absolutely, that's great. But I didn't know what it was, like how big of an event this was, and I was like, sure. So I guess they agreed. They wanted to give me this Community Hero Award during Women's History Month because of the advocacy I've been doing with missing and murdered Indigenous people and everything I kind of been doing in general from my boxing now to where I am in little old Rhode Island. So the Rhode Island state representatives are going to present me. I'm the first time recipient of the Community Hero Award. It's nice because I don't get home much. I live in Philadelphia now, and to be able to return home as a quote unquote hero, where I've been through the ringer. I've been through, and I've been life has life, but it's been a blessing, and to see where I started and now where I am now, and to get recognized by my hometown is really, really cool. So I'm really, really honored for that. Get to kind of go home and say hello to people in a whole different light. And it also reflects that, that is my home. That is the community. That's the community that I am a hero of. And I represent Rhode Island no matter where I come, wherever I go, and people know, and I'm very proud of being from there. So it's really nice to be able to go back and get honored by my homies back home. So I'm very, very excited. My mom gets to be there, and it's not just this is happening to me, as my life is hitting the fast track with acting. It's a community that's happening to, people know more about Rhode Island. People know more about Cape Verdeans. They know about the Seekonk and Wampanoag tribe. They know about KALI REIS. They know about, oh, well, let me Google that. What I mean? It's just really, really nice to be able to have that. And it's a we thing, like to see the experience through my family or my hometown community as their experience it with me. Like, this is us. It's really cool to get recognized with it. Cause I get so elated and lit up with joy when I hear people say, hey, I saw this person in the supermarket and they were talking about you. And I was like, oh, that's my cousin. And they didn't believe me. So I had to call you. And it's just like really cool. I went to school with you. And I'm like, yeah, no, you guys really know me, like little old Rhode Island. So it's really cool. I'm excited.
Well, that's amazing. Again, congratulations on that, because like you said, it's a community award for your hometown. So that's got to be, I mean, if that had happened to me, I would be really emotional. And so freaking proud too at the same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, have the tissue ready because, like I said, I've been busy, so I love going back home, love grounding myself just to do this and just see so many people that I haven't seen in so long, and like I kind of made a few days out of it. My brother put together like a reception, and then we're gonna do something Friday because I know people just want to enjoy or celebrate this whole moment in time with me. So it's just nice to I don't really get the chance to see my people back home. I'll go home to visit my mom, but then I got to go back here to come to work, to go here and there. So it's really, really special. I'm going to be crying for the whole week next week, probably.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. And I keep saying before we wrap this up, I know we do need to wrap this up. What is going on with your boxing career? You're still involved? You're kind of getting retired? What's going on with that? What's the latest?
So I'm not officially retired yet. My last fight was in 2021, and I won that fight. I was set up to have the undisputed fight against the Chantel Cameron she's out of United Kingdom. But the whole 2021, I was dealing with a plethora of like health issues that kind of came to a head in my last fight, and taking nothing away from my opponent or anything, I was at least at 40-50% if that, like health wise. And I was just kind of going through the motions, didn't really want to tell anyone. And just because I'm just a fighter and I'm stubborn and hard headed and stupid at times, but my body needed a break. And this True Detective came at a point where it just had the timing, creator, universe just had the timing where I had this opportunity to do this. So I needed to take a break. I needed to take a step back anyway. It just so happened that this lined up at the same time. So I never had the inclination that I wanted to retire. I don't have the inclination or the desire to have another 5 years in the game whatsoever. Because even when I was first starting out, I wanted to give myself a good run. And I didn't want to overstay my welcome. I didn't want to be 40, 41, 42 in the game. And like, they just think that's just too much. I've been boxing now professionally for almost 16 years, overall for over 20 years. Like, I love the sport. It's given me a lot. It's taken a lot. If it wasn't for boxing, maybe I wouldn't have even been found for this. You know what I mean? So boxing has given me so much, and I love it. So where I needed the break, and health wise, it's one of those things where it's not like a broken ankle you can put in a cast and heal and then keep it trucking. It's more of like an hormonal, internal, not really knowing what's going on. But my body, we're kind of getting some answers now. So I definitely have 1 or 2 fights that would tickle my fancy and that I would put a fire under me to actually want to train again. I do want to fight again. My goal is to fight again this year. I would love to. We had some little chirps from one of my opponents, one of my opponents that I fought back in 2018, which is actually a full circle moment because we were the first fight on HBO, and I did HBO True Detective, which is still interesting. But there's been some chirps. There's been some heated discussions about finally maybe getting that rematch with Cecilia Brækhus, and that's one fight that would get my gears a turning. Not saying that I don't train now. I've always maintained I'm always trying to do something. I took the time that I did True Detective for a lot of maintenance, a lot of recovery, a lot of just movement and mobility to try to set my body and give my body the recovery and healing it needed. So that fight would definitely, I would love to fight her again if she's staying active. So we'll see. The thing is, we're not gonna force anything. I'm in a great position now. I've had this new great career as an actor, and it's a blessing of one to have, and I plan on staying it for a long time, as long as I can. So that's taking the front seat, definitely. But if and when a fight falls into place where it needs to, when it needs to, who it needs to be against, I'm all for it because I have not retired yet. So Cecilia, I'll see you in round 11.
Okay, I remember the second interview, you were kind of touching on some of the health things that you were trying to work through and trying to get some answers to what was going on. Because I think if I remember right, the clip I showed was from that last fight, and that's when you were going to explain to me, oh, I was like 45% in there, during that, just trying to hang in there because my body was having some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the fact that if it's, well, and I know you've talked about this, that you're a strong believer in manifestation, that if you put it out there to the universe, then things start to happen. So it sounds like, that you have that fire in your belly. Just kind of, when's the right timing for that fire to come out and be stoked and get it going again?
Yeah. So it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna I'm gonna be 5 years in the game. At this point, if anything is meant to be, whatever's meant for you will find you. I am living proof, legit. Like, people, this doesn't normally happen. How does it happen? It must have been meant to be because it happened, and I'm here doing what I got to do. So, I learned, especially as of recent, that your yes is somebody else's no, and somebody else's no is your yes. Meaning that, like, if you got a bunch of no's, that was so other people who needed that at that time could get those yeses. And if you got that yes, somebody else got told no for your yes. So that's just something that I've kind of been learning. And I'm like, well, that's true, because although nobody likes rejection, and there's things that happen that are out of your control and that you really want, and that's really discouraging. But like you said, sometimes you're in traffic because it could have avoided an accident. You never know what the universe and what the creator has planned for you. So I just been kind of, so cliche Bruce Lee, moving like water, like wherever I get placed, wherever anybody gets placed, it's because you're capable. You might not know how, you might not know that you're capable, but trust me, if it's in front of you, it means that you're capable of handling it, because it's getting presented to you at the time it needs to be. So we'll see whatever the creator got planned for me. I don't know. I might change careers and become like a NASCAR driver. I have no idea. No idea what's going on.
Well, I think it's very, very well said about, especially about, your yes is somebody else's no. That comes down to perspective too, and sometimes people keep losing their perspective. In reality, it's like, well, no, there's a reason why this happened, and you might be on top of the world right now, but somebody else is like, in tears over here because they just got the no.
Yeah.
And then, but at some point, you're probably going to be the one that gets the no, and they're going to get the yes. So it's kind of, I think one of the best things, I'm completely paraphrasing what Mo Brings Plenty had said, but he was talking about how, with him being from the Lakota Nation, that he lives his life in a way that he can be presented to his ancestors, and he hopes that they want him in their presence, and he hopes vice versa, that they would want to be in his presence based on how he lived his life. Yeah, and I'm kind of like, when he said that to me, I'm like, how am I living my life? Maybe there's some changes that I need to be making, because I don't know if my ancestors want me around in their presence or not, based on some of the choices I've made. And it was profound when he said that to me.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at things. It doesn't say that people, we're all humans too. Like I learned from Irene Beddard. She's an amazing woman. Oh my God, I absolutely love that woman. But she was telling a story, and she's like, my grandfather, when I left, the village and went to college, he asked me if I knew what Inupiaq means, and I just said it means. Well, she said Eskimo because that's all she knew at the time, and that's what they call each other. And he said, no, it means human. So we're all human, man. It's like we're all gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna happen, but like, be nice to yourself. We're all human. A change doesn't mean you've been bad or you're a horrible person. It just means whatever you've done up until that point, it served its purpose and it needs to be altered. That's it, man. And just kind of keep going. We're only here for a little bit, man.
That is very true. Next thing you know, show's over.
Cut.
Wrap, final.
That's a martini shot, man.
Yeah. Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for taking the time. And I mean, your success is so well deserved with True Detective, and also all the projects you have coming up that you just mentioned, and your potential, next fight, whenever that will be, from the universe for boxing. And I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better person. I'm so just proud of the fact that I even know you. It's I wish you every success with everything else you have in the future, and I'll definitely be watching to see that press release, and I'll be watching to see what's coming up, because you got a lot coming up in the pike, and I couldn't be more happy for you.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. It's always been a pleasure to talk to you, and we're gonna be like interview homies for life. Seriously, anything I got going on I'll find the time. Put it that way. I always find the time to speak with you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great evening over
there. Yeah. Yep.
Or almost evening.
Yep. It's about 5 o'clock. I already trained very, very hard earlier today, so I'm ready for like a large cup of water and a bed. That's what I'm ready for. We had a long day. It was drill day today, so I'm ready. So you have a good rest of your day too.
You too. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.